Hi, it's T with T Quilts, and I'm here with some material that's left over from when I made my Mariner quilt, the quilt that I made for my car. These are my leftover pieces, and I thought that I would use it to create some fabric to cover my dilapidated wrist rest. I thought maybe I would just order another one, but I decided that, you know, I was never really happy with this one, and I could order another one and not be really happy with that one either. And I could just make a tube of fabric and just completely stuff it with either stuffing or rice, but I don't want to do that either. I thought that maybe I would recycle this inside of my casing and then add stuffing to make it so that it's wider than what I have, because I do find that I sometimes need more width on here, and I don't want to use any food product, because what if my drink spills or something and then my rice is going to expand or my beans are going to expand. So I am just going to make a tube, put this inside, and then I have loads of cotton for stuffing. And I have this by the box, so I can use as much as I need. But I thought I would start with this because it still has some gel cushioning or pad cushioning, and then I would stuff around. So I've already taken a piece off of my leftovers, and I'm just going to estimate how much of this I'm going to need. So if this folds over, so it folds over about to there. So I think I'm just going to cut along this line here to get me a piece off. And I just thought that I would use this because I'm using something that I've already quilted. I'm recycling. So let's put this back again just for a second so I can see. Okay. So I just need to pick a spot say about right there to make my bottom edge square. And I am currently not knowing what size I'm making, so I will let you know what size I've cut. And I need to cut this one other side. So it's 20 by 10. And then my actual wrist, so my wrist rest is 18.5 by 3.5, and I've cut my piece 20 by 10. So I should be able to sew this into a tube and then just leave a little opening for turning. So what I want to do is fold this in half, right sides together, and then I'm going to sew from the short ends on both sides and come in and stop. And I'm going to leave quite a bit open, say maybe 6-7 inches open, because I want to be able to get my wrist rest in through that hole to each side. I have done all of my stitching, and I reinforced by back stitching in my corner areas just to give a little bit more stabilization. And then I went in and actually trimmed the corner so I wouldn't have a lot of fabric bulk in the corner when I got ready to turn. And here I have where I have left quite a generous amount of space open because I don't want any difficulty with getting my wrist support in. So now all I'm going to do is just turn this right side out. This is really going to be a super fast video or super easy video. So I'm just turning my corners out. And since this is quilted, it's not going to be super pointy in the corners. And I could get my little corner turner and handle that, but I'm not really worried about it. It's just a little wrist support for my desk. So this is supposed to be quick and functional. My last corner here. So this is my unit here after it's been turned. And so I've got both sides covered with fabric now. And I am going to now stuff my wrist support inside. So I need to determine which side I want to use on top. I think I'll use this one just because it's got less yellow. It's a little bit darker on this side. So I can perhaps not see the dirt as fast if it gets dirty. And so I'm just pushing this into one corner. And then I'm holding the corner while I get the other end started. And it should be a little big, so it should be very easy to go in. So now I have a nice rectangle with my wrist support inside. And now what I want to do is just put a lot of stuffing inside of here. So here's a wad of stuffing. And the one thing about stuffing when you first use it, you don't just start using it. You actually, I guess you would call this peel the stuffing so that it can fluff itself up and not just be one big wad inside. Okay, so I'll just start taking my stuffing, and I'm going to go to my far corners first. And so here you could probably use some sort of skewer or that purple thing to actually get into your corners, but I'm just too lazy to go get it. Okay. And I'm trying to keep the bottom flat because I want to keep the wrist support flat underneath, so I really don't want my stuffing underneath. I just want my stuffing to be up on the top so I can have some additional padding. Okay, so I'm liking what I have so far. Looks like I can put a little bit more stuffing in here. Okay, so now that I have my bag stuffed, I want to fold in 1/4 of an inch on each side. They don't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be exactly 1/4 inch. Just make sure you have something to sew. And I am going to use some Wonder Clips, and I will hand sew this together. If you want, you can machine sew this together as well. So I will go do that, and then I will come back with the next step. So here I am with my sewn closure closed. I actually used a double thread, and I went down my opening, and then I also came back. And it wasn't hard to get the wrist support inside, so you don't have to leave as large of an opening as I did. So now I have some cushion. I still have the back part of it flat because I did not put any cushion underneath my actual wrist support that's inside. The only problem now is that my wrist support now slides. In order to stop that, I have taken a piece of shelf liner that I am going to hot glue onto the back of my wrist support. So off camera, I have heated my glue gun, and I am just going to spritz it onto the back here. Let me start down here. And it is hot, so be careful. So I ran out of hot glue, so I had to go get another glue stick. So then I will just peel back, because all I did was put glue down the center just to temporarily hold this. So now what I want to do is peel this back so that I can now press down. It's much better to use some cheap scissors to press your piece in than using your hand. When that sets and I turn it over, it won't move near as much as it did before. So I actually use the shelf liner to help keep it in place on my desk. So isn't that pretty? I just love it. So I can't wait for it to completely dry. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes just to make sure everything is set. And while I was making this, I decided that I could use my scraps to make a cover for my AccuQuilt Studio die system. I was watching Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and she made a cover for her AccuQuilt Studio die cutter. So I've been wanting to do that, just been neglecting. So maybe while I have these pieces out, I'll go measure my Studio system and cut some pieces so that I can use these scraps. I knew that I was holding onto these scraps for a reason, just didn't know why, but I am going to use them now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.